Superman can fly. Spider-Man can climb on walls. In this lesson, we're going to start developing your superpower. Your superpower is going to be the ability to see 3D objects in your mind. You'll learn to move them around and rotate them, and you'll be able to solve 3D problems just by thinking about it. I'm talking about three-dimensional space. And when you get good at this, the code will you'll kind of stop seeing the code, and you'll just see an infinite 3D world where you can create anything that you can imagine. So let's begin. So previously we had a 2D grid. We had the x-axis going this way, positive to the right, negative to the left. We had the y-axis, positive up and negative down, unless you're talking about screen coordinates, and then it's going to be flipped upside down. And now we're going to add another axis. We're going to call this the z-axis. And we can't actually draw a 3D line coming out of the screen, so I'm going to draw it at an angle like this. So positive is going into the screen or the page, and then negative is coming out towards us. Now, if you're drawing, if you have your graph paper and your ruler and pen, then you can start drawing an axis like this. And if you can just draw the z-axis at a perfect 45-degree angle, that's really easiest, because then it'll just go right through, then your z units will line up with x and y. And it's just a lot easier to draw it that way. In this diagram, I did not draw it at a perfect 45-degree angle. But if you're doing this on graph paper, it's a lot easier to do it that way. Okay, so we saw previously that on a 2D grid, each coordinate had two components to it. Now on a 3D grid, we add another component for the z-axis. So for example, here on the x-axis we have 10, 0, 0. That means it's 10 units to the right on the x-axis, and then 0 units up and 0 units back on the z-axis, or forward if it's going negative. So it's just 10, 0, 0, so it's just on the x-axis. Here we have 0, 10, 0. This is going up on the y-axis, and it's not one way or the other on the x-axis. It's not one way or the other on the z-axis. So it's just 0, 10, 0. And then on the x-axis, here we have 0, 0. So it's in the center of the x. It's in the center of y. It's at the 0 position. And then it's 10 units into the screen on the z-axis. That's 0, 0, 10 right here. So if we have the coordinate 2, 2, 2, where would that be? Let's start at the origin. That's 0, 0, 0. And we'll go 2 units to the right, 1, 2 on the x-axis. We'll go 2 units up on the y-axis. And then we're going to go, this is the tricky one, we're going to go back 2 units because we're going positive on the x-axis, on the z-axis. So we'll go 1, 2. And so the coordinate 2, 2, 2 should appear, if we drew it on this screen, it should be right about there. Yep, I got it right. Now here, these lines, I'm showing you doing the z-axis first, and then the x-axis, and then the y-axis. The order doesn't matter. It's just you have to apply that to each axis. You have to apply the right number. So, yeah, we got it right. Now here's a good exercise for you. Pick 5 random coordinates, 3D coordinates like this. And throw in some negatives too, some negative numbers. And then just figure out where they are on your graph paper or on the screen. So let's just pick a random one. -4, 3, 1. I don't know where that's going to be. Let's see. We can figure it out. -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going this way because it's negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What did I say? 3, 1. So negative 4, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then, so we're right here. So this is like right on the XY plane. And we haven't applied Z to it. And I said negative 4, 3, 1. So then we'll go forward 1. So it should be right about here. Just try doing that with a few just randomly picked coordinates, and then go back and make sure you got it right. This is a very, very important skill to learn. Okay. What if we draw a box and we put one corner at this coordinate, 2, 2, 2, and we put another, the opposite corner, at the origin, that's 0, 0, 0. What would that actually look like? Well, we have part of it drawn already. This is going to form the back face here, right? And then this is one edge. We'd have another edge right here. We'd have the face like that, and then an edge coming up here and across. So it would look like that. Can you draw that on your graph paper? It's really good practice to just draw stuff in 3D. And you might notice this is a cube because each side is 2 units long. But it looks longer this way on the z-axis. Why is that? The reason for that is because our z-axis is stretched. If you draw the z-axis at a 45-degree angle and you say that, okay, your divisions are going to be right where the x and y meet, then that's going to stretch out your z-axis. And it's also stretched in this picture. So that's okay. It's still easier to draw this way. But just be aware of that if you do that, then it will cause your image to be a little bit stretched out on the z-axis. There's also isometric grid paper that you can get, but it's a little bit confusing to draw on. I find it a lot more intuitive to just use 2D graph paper and then just draw the z-axis at a 45-degree angle. But, you know, if isometric works for you, then you can try that too. Now, I want you to notice, we already said that x is to the right, so that's positive. Z is forward, and that's positive. And y up is positive, unless we're talking about screen coordinates. If we're talking about 3D coordinates, then positive y is going up. You can display these axes with your hand if you'd make this funny gesture. This is called a left-handed coordinate system. And if you just hold your fingers like this, they will point in the positive direction for x. Your thumb will point in the positive direction for y. And your forefinger will point in the positive direction for z. And that's my left hand, so that's a left-handed coordinate system. Now, if you had a right-handed coordinate system, then z would be still pointing forward, y would still be pointing up, but x would be pointing in the opposite direction, right? Because that would be my right hand. Leadworks uses a left-handed coordinate system, so this is just what it always is. But, you know, deciding which direction is positive and negative for each axis, that is completely arbitrary. I mean, there are some systems where X will be in the opposite direction. There are some systems where Z will be up. There's some software where it's completely different. Um, but this is the way we do it. So, and this is the way most 3D and video game software actually does it. So, just always, if you ever get confused, just make that symbol with your hand, and you've got X, Y, Z, and you'll always know which direction is positive. So that's the very basics of 3 dimensions, and it's going to get a lot more interesting. I hope you're ready for a challenge. I think you can do it, and I'll be there with you every step of the way. I'll see you in the next lesson.